And about to get to see the big boys go at it here. Our ATV MX Heat Race number 1 lined up on the gate now, and we get set to turn them loose, get to see them in full force for the first time here today.
Yeah, this is going to be fun to watch. Got two of our heavy hitters right here in Heat 1, Chad Wienen in that pink fly gear, and then you see the big number 1 of Joel Hetrick in that Moose Racing gear. Gates down, great start from Hetrick, and looks like he's going to lead him into turn 1, but might not lead him out side by side.
And it looks like one of the Ford boys up in the mix.
How about that? Ford got the yellow gear, funnels into the number 2 spot. Bad news for the rest of the field. The reigning champ is out front. Joel Hetrick with the early race lead.
Yeah, Zach, just like we were talking about a little bit earlier, he was able to get through that entire season there in 2024 perfect all year long. First time that has ever happened, and that also made him the most winning ATV rider in ATV MX history. So very credentialed rider there up at the front of the pack.
Yeah, Hetrick knows how to get the job done, whether it be on a Supercross track, an outdoor national motocross track. Even raced a little GNCC with us as well. His teammate there on the Phoenix Racing Yamaha ATV team, Bryson Neal, the champion in GNCC ATV racing. So these guys clearly know how to get the job done on the track and on the trail, as we see that pro-only section opening up here for the ATV SX class. Same rhythms that we saw Landon Gordon doing yesterday, Joel Hetrick doing it, but on 4 wheels.
Exactly. Joel Hetrick leading the way. Bryce Ford in that second spot in the yellow gear, and then Jaden Lounderville going to hold on to third. Chad Wienen in fourth. Joey Norris holds on to that 5th place spot.
Taking a look a little further back, Mason Jackson checks in just in front of Adam Ulrich and Zach Decker, rounding out your top 8 here in heat number 1.
Joel Hetrick now starting to pull off just a little bit. He was the fastest person on that track that last time around at 48.6, I should say. We'll see what it's going to be this time around.
Just a little bit faster, maybe just over a second faster than Bryce Ford was the number 1 of Joel Hetrick. We'll see what Ford's able to do the next time they come across the stripe. Got a little bit of space up in front of them. Not going to have to worry about checking up. We'll see a 101.6 now to a 102.0. So only a little less than half a second now separating the lap times for Hetrick and Ford, but 1.7 seconds physically separating the 2 on track.
So here we go, getting to see our leader make his way through that pro-only section. About the only time I do believe we'll be seeing that all day here is going to be with our ATV pros. And man, absolutely sending it out here. This is the way you start off a season here at the Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, and you had to know that Hetrick was showing up to try to make a statement after going undefeated last year. All eyes are on you, and the thing they say about the top is there's only one way to go from there. It's either maintain or go down. Hetrick making it clear he's not going anywhere. He wants to stay atop and continue to stretch out that winning record on the number 1.
Hey, this is a great opportunity for everybody else. Like we always say, Zach, a clean slate for the rest of the riders. They come into this, as far as they're concerned, that everybody is the points leader here today. So we're going to see who is actually going to come out on top at the end of the day as the points leader. Of course, Joel Hetrick looking good so far, but you know Bryce Ford, Jaden Lounderville, Chad Wienen, the rest of the crew going to be very, very anxious to get theirself up in that number 1 spot and start their year off with a bang.
Yeah, I'm curious to watch to see whether or not we can see Chad Wienen creep forward at all, a 103.2, so just a tick off the pace of both Bryce Ford and Jaden Lounderville. But nonetheless, we know he has got to be one of the fan favorites coming into the season, but it's just so hard to argue with the program that Joel Hetrick and that Phoenix Racing Yamaha team has got. Really seems to be comfortable. I know Carolina-based, I've gotten to see Joel ride at some of the local motocross tracks, and the skills that he has on this ATV and all of these guys, their ability to whip these 4-wheelers is insane. You don't really see that on any local level. And Joel putting it to good use right now, not really throwing any whips quite yet. It's all business as he makes his way through that pro section once again.
So let's see here, about 4 laps now going to be in the books. I'm going to have a few more to go. Man, Joel Hetrick and the rest of the crew there, Ford, they absolutely hard on that throttle, seemingly never letting off.
Yeah, you can see the wall of roost that they throw as they're wide open, sliding the back end around these big berms, and man, it makes it fun to watch for sure. I'm sure the photos that they're able to get from this as well really looked phenomenal. I mean, that amount of momentum carried by Joel Hetrick, I don't think you can hit a turn any faster than that.
Yeah, absolutely not. Wide open as he makes his way back through this final section here before the finish. Going to be making his way through here for our first heat race with 5 laps complete now.
So another lap in the books for Joel Hetrick, continuing to stretch things out and matching that 101.5, 3.2 seconds back to Bryce Ford now with a 102 flat. So still roughly half a second slower is Bryce Ford, and while that's not a huge gap, it also is a huge difference lap after lap. And you can see Hetrick continuing to march away ever so slightly from Ford aboard that number 4. Launderville back there in the number 3 spot. And Chad Wienen hangs on to the 4th place position. Norris rounding out the top 5. A lot of outsides being used here from Hetrick. He's got enough of a gap built up that he can just carry the momentum around this track. Doesn't have to cut underneath, doesn't have to protect any insides.
And looking so far so good for the Phoenix Racing Yamaha machine of Joel Hetrick. And it just seems like Phoenix Racing Yamaha has something figured out, Zach, like you were saying. They've got it figured out in the GNCC side, now have it figured out completely here in this ATV MX. A perfect season last year. It just seems like they are on top of this ATV game.
Yeah, they've clearly got something working in their favor on both track and trail. Hetrick and Neal been unstoppable in their disciplines, and even seen some crossover as well. Like we said, Joel Hetrick hanging out with us at GNCC, trying some things out. Not quite as competitive in the woods, but I'm sure a very different race setup and different style as well. And then we've seen John Glada Jr. also jump over and do some ATV MX racing as well. So just goes to show the versatility of their riders. As Hetrick, man, no doubt about it, he seems fired up and looking to come out swinging at round 1 and heat 1. He wants to start off with a win.
Yeah, heat 2, like we said, going to be coming up immediately after this one. And then we will resume racing with our bikes. And later on this evening, going to be having our main event here for the ATV side. Triple looking silky smooth.
Buttery, yeah, there's no doubt about it. And you can see the way that ATV is handling. He's almost able to predict where these bumps are going to be. Gets a great drive around that flat turn.
And Zach, we got a ton of great partners here at ATV MX. You see some of the tough blocks out there: Rocky Mountain ATV, MC, Kenda Tires, VP Racing, Arma, CST Tires, SSI Decals, DWT, Wills, Henson, Elka, Defiance, man, so many great partners helping make this ATV MX a success, and we thank them for that. So now seeing the number 3 on your screen.
Taking a look, that is Jaden Launderville, still holding on to the 3rd place spot with Chad Wienen just behind.
And Joey Norris not far back behind Wienen there. Norris going to be on the 900 machine, or Wienen on screen in the pink gear.
Yeah, Wienen trying to chase down Launderville there on your screen right now, and looks like he's creeping in just a little bit. We'll see what the gap is. Only a second back to Chad Wienen.
About 4.8 back to Joey Norris, and then Joey Norris and Mason Jackson going to be that other battle on the track. 0.6 seconds separating them there at the finish.
Chad Wienen, one of the bigger riders that we have as far as stature goes. Joel Hetrick a little on the smaller side. Just goes to show different styles, different body types, but still able to go incredibly fast out here this weekend. And the Ford boys, Bryce Ford right now making quite the impression. Oh, looks like that might have been Launderville that went off the track. So I think Jaden Launderville going to hand over that number 3 position, and he does. So Chad Wienen makes the move, puts himself in the final podium position.
So now going to be Hetrick, Ford, and Wienen in those top 3 spots. Launderville going to move to the 4th place spot. Norris in 5th, Jackson in 6th, Decker in 7th, and Ulrich now going to round out our top 8.
So 10 minutes plus a lap here for these heat races. And at about a 1:02 lap and 9 laps complete, should be seeing a white flag here relatively soon as Joel Hetrick trying some different lines out now. This is something the number one's really good about, playing the what if game. He takes a look at some different options just in case he does not get the start that he needs in that main event. Able to figure out some additional ways around the traffic in front of him. And let's see, back through the backstretch once again. Will we see? There it is. The white flag waves. 1 lap left to go for the champ, Joel Hetrick.
So one more lap here in heat number 1. Heat number 2 going to be coming up next. Hetrick having a good run, as well as Ford and Wienen. Bryce Ford on screen there in the bright yellow gear on that blue machine.
And yeah, you can see Hetrick there has pretty much opened up an entire straightaway on the rest of the field, not having to push very hard at all.
Yeah, looking like Bryce Ford somewhat settling in there into that second place position. He probably says that'll do here for the heat race. This isn't the main event. Don't need to push it too hard here in this one, but expect for those guys to be charging hard coming into this main event.
Oh, absolutely. And got to think saving just a little bit of energy. Don't want to throw it all out there if you don't have to. 1 corner left to go, and Hetrick going to do exactly what he needs.
And here we go, heat race number 1. Going to go to Joel Hetrick. And was that a hill clicker we just saw over the finish line? I do believe so.
I'm telling you what, this guy has got some style for days.
Bryce Ford, a 2nd place finish. And Chad Wienen comes through in the 3rd place. Jaden Launderville going to be your 4th place finisher, with Joey Norris in the 5th place spot. That will do it for heat race number 1. We're going to have heat race 2 lined up and ready to go here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, just like you said, Jackson, right into heat race number 2. Going to set the stage for that ATV SX main event coming up, the final race of the day.